This is the video for Unit 6, Day 13, and in this video we are going to be talking about the 3-read strategy. And this is a strategy that we can use to help us break down word problems. You don't have to do it for every word problem, but it is something that we're going to be doing throughout the rest of the year. So we are going to read this situation 3 times. And each time we read it, we're going to do something a little bit different. So the first read, what we do is we're trying to figure out what is this situation about. And what you do is you read along as I read the situation, and you are going to underline the context. So you're going to underline what's happening. And then after you read it the first time, you're going to start to draw a picture of what's happening. So let's read this situation together. Guillermo's father gave him $130. Guillermo bought 6 books, each of which cost $9. So to underline the context, we know that Guillermo's father gave him $130. Then Guillermo bought 6 books, and each book cost $9. So we've underlined what's happening in this situation. Now, to help us in our minds get a visualization of what's happening here, we can draw a picture. You can draw a picture however you'd like. I'm going to show you an example of how you might draw a picture so you can follow along, or you can just start drawing however you want to draw the situation out. So I think to myself, okay, so this is about Guillermo. So I'll put Guillermo in the middle. This is my excellent drawing of what Guillermo looks like. So there's Guillermo. And I know that his father's giving him some money. So I'll draw an arrow. Right, he's getting some money. And then he's using some of that money, and he's going out and he's buying books. That'll be my book, just like that. Okay, so now I'm starting to get an idea, and I have my drawing of what's happening. And let's move on to the second read. The second read says, we're trying to figure out what are the quantities. Remember, quantities are like numbers. So we're going to read the situation again, and we're going to put boxes around the quantities, which are the numbers. And then we're going to label our drawing with those numbers. All right, so back to the situation. Guillermo's father gave him $130. So $130, that's a quantity. We'll put a box around that. And then Guillermo bought 6 books. So when we're talking about 6 books, we'll put a box around that. And then each of those books cost $9. Put a box around the $9. And now that we've identified what are the quantities or the numbers in this word problem, to help us put it all together, let's put it back in our diagram. So Guillermo's father gave him $130. So we have $130 going to Guillermo. And he buys 6 books. So we have 1 book here, 2 books here, 3, 4, 5, 6. And each book costs $9. So I can label in each of these books $9. Okay. Now we have our diagram, our picture, and we've labeled it with our numbers. Now let's go to the third read. We're going to read this situation one more time, and this time we want to think to ourselves, what math questions can I ask? Another way of thinking this is, when you read the situation again, you're going to write 2 possible questions that might be asked based on the situation. So look at our situation again. We know that Guillermo's getting some money, and then he's spending some money. So I think to myself, maybe it wants me to figure out how much money he has left over after he buys the books? Okay, so what's one way I can phrase that question? I might say, how much money does Guillermo have left over? So that's one possible question, right, that might be asked off of this information. Another possible question might be, let's see, so I know he's buying 6 books and each book costs $9. And I can kind of start to guess maybe he has money left over, and maybe it wants me to figure out how many more books he can buy if each book costs $9. So that's another possible question. How many more books can Guillermo buy? Right, so these are just 2 possible answers. For this third read, once you're writing your questions, there's no right or wrong answers. I just want you to start thinking about what might the question be asking me. Okay, so make sure you have all this down. You can pause the video if you need to, because we're going to move on. But once you do, go ahead and turn the page to page 3. And let's do one more together. But this one I want you to do more on your own. So let's start the first read. What is the situation about? I'm going to read the situation aloud, and as I do, you can start to underline. Miss Mola bought 8 pizzas for classrooms. She gave 3 3/4 pizzas to one class and 2 1/2 pizzas to a second class. Go ahead and underline the situation, underlining what's happening. Okay, so I know Miss Mola bought 8 pizzas and she gave 3 3/4 pizzas to one class and 2 1/2 pizzas to a second class. And now I want you to draw a picture of what's happening. However you want, however you're visualizing this situation in your mind, draw it out right here. So go ahead and pause the video, and then you can continue the video once you're done with your drawing. Go ahead and pause and draw now. Okay, so now you're continuing your video, and I'm going to start to show you how I drew it, and maybe you drew it differently, and that's totally cool. Let's see, so I think of it as, so she buys 8 pizzas, so let me draw my 8 pizzas. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know in one class she has a certain amount, and a second class she has a certain amount. So I'll have certain one class, and then she gives some to the second class. Okay, so now the second read. What are the quantities? Let's read the situation again and put boxes around the numbers. Miss Mola bought 8 pizzas. There's one quantity. She gave 3 3/4 pizzas. That's another quantity. Put a box around that. To one class. And 2 1/2 pizzas. That's another amount. To a second class. So now I'm going to go back into my diagram and label in my quantities. So I know she had 8 pizzas to start off with. In her first class, she's giving 3 3/4 pizzas. So 1 pizza, 2 pizzas, 3 pizzas, and then 3/4 of a pizza. Right, so 3 3/4 is going here. This one, and then a quarter, and a quarter. There's my 3 3/4. And then I know she's giving 2.5 pizzas to a second class. So I know we have 2.5 pizzas going this way. Right, so here's 1 pizza, 2 pizzas, and a half. So that's a half. 1, 2. Okay. Now, third read. Let's read the situation one more time, and we're going to write 2 possible questions that might be asked. Miss Mola bought 8 pizzas for classrooms. She gave 3 3/4 pizzas to one class. That's what we drew here. And then 2.5 pizzas to a second class. That's what went this way. Okay. So what is a question that might be asked based off of this information? Well, I know that she gave some away to one class and some away to a second class. I know she has 8 altogether. So go ahead and write out 2 possible questions that you think might be asked based off of this math information. Go ahead and pause the video and then write your 2 questions. And then after you're done, you can continue. Pause the video and write your questions now. Okay, now you're continuing the video after you have written your 2 questions. So one question might be, how much total pizza did she give away? Right, that might be one question. And I'm not going to give you a second one because I want you to really think on your own to see what might be another possible question. And then after you have your 2 questions, I want you to check with your partner right next to you to write down one question that they wrote too, to see if you guys got something different or something that was the same. So go ahead and finish this page 3, and then after you finish page 3, you can stay working on your computer and your headphones because you'll need those to do page 4.